whatever. Look, I've made the relevant remark for the week. Give me my 10 points. Let's move on. Besides another one of Trump's many ridiculous tweets, the main story of last week was the following.
In order to fulfill my solemn duty to protect America and its citizens, the United States will withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord.
That's right, guys. Last week, Trump and the United States pulled out of the Paris Agreement. And yes, I know that there's some sexual innuendo in that sentence, so go ahead and get your giggles out right now, you goddamn child. Sorry. The U.S. now joins Syria and Nicaragua as the countries that don't want to take part in an agreement that was put together by nearly 200 countries to do their part to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and to reduce the overall temperature of the planet to help with climate change. Now, granted, there is no penalty for not taking part in this agreement. We don't have to take part. No country has to take part in it. But if the rest of the world is showing this sort of spirit of brotherhood and coming together for a common cause while we're sitting off to the side, it's not a really good look. I mean, Mr. President, even North Korea is in on this agreement. Ultimately, this is Trump doubling down on what he said he would do in his inauguration speech, which was,
It's going to be only America first.
Ah, yes, America first. A truly original and noble idea for that matter. Us before everyone else. America first, every other country second. Except that the idea, and for that matter, the phrase America first is nothing new. In fact, it's quite old. Some might even argue that it's 224 years old, to be specific. Because back in 1793, George Washington issued a proclamation of neutrality, which stated that the new United States would not get involved in any sort of fighting between England and France. And at the time, that made sense. I mean, America had pretty much just finished fighting its own war, the War for Independence, after declaring independence from England. It had just drafted its constitution. So yeah, in that case, America first. Because in the 18th century, America was still trying to figure out what it was going to be, what direction it was going to take. So you might want to knock that out before trying to be the next superpower. And then if we time jump to the 20th century, specifically 1916, we look at the re-election of Woodrow Wilson. During Wilson's re-election campaign for president, one of the platforms that he was running on was the fact that he had managed to keep America out of World War I, out of the Great War that was happening in Europe at the time. We've discussed this on a previous episode. Click that link right there, the card. Yeah, you'll get to know all about it. And one of the slogans that was being used to promote the fact that Wilson had kept America out of war? America first. Ah, but I know what you guys are waiting for, right? You're waiting for me to tell you how the idea of America first is actually tied to the Nazis, which is why you can go to your conservative parents and tell them, see, I told you Trump was like Hitler. First of all, son, just sit down, eat your soup, and let me provide you with a little bit of context, cool? R. Douglas Stewart, a Yale law student and the son of the founder of Quaker Oats, formed a committee called the America First Committee in September of 1940. And the initial reason for creating this committee was to promote an anti-war stance against sending Americans to fight in Europe for World War II. The AFC gained more of a foothold when it combined with the Keep America Out of War Committee, and at its peak had nearly 1 million members. And some of the members of the AFC are names that you might know, like Gerald Ford, a future president. You had Potter Stewart, a future Supreme Court justice, and Sergeant Shriver, the future leader of the Peace Corps and future Kennedy family member. Oh, and let's also not forget that the famous aviator Charles Lindbergh counted himself among their ranks, but let's just put him off to the side for a second. The AFC could have easily gone down in history as a peaceful anti-war movement, okay? A bunch of people that had their heart in the right place. They didn't want Americans going over to Europe and fighting in a war that America really had no part in, except for the one thing that tarnished its legacy. That would be the anti-Semitism. Turns out that the AFC had a few prominent anti-Semites among its ranks, including Henry Ford. Yes! That Henry Ford, the guy that created the $5 a day assembly line, the maker of the Model T. Who'd have thought that the Model T was a car that also hated Jewish people? And then there was also Avery Brundage, the former chairman of the U.S. Olympic Committee, who famously prohibited 2 Jewish runners from participating in the 4x100 relay in the 1936 Olympic Games in Berlin. So both Ford and Brundage were removed from the AFC's executive board to stifle any sort of accusations that the group was anti-Semitic. And then Charles Lindbergh comes into the picture. Lindbergh, for those of you that don't know, gained his fame by being the first person ever to fly from New York to Paris in a plane called the Spirit of St. Louis. And because of this feat, he became a very heroic and iconic American figure. So when he was able to speak in front of crowds, a lot of people showed up to listen to him. And speak he did on behalf of the America First Committee. Wonderful, flowery quotes such as, "I am not attacking either the Jewish or the British people. Both races I admire." Oh, that's a very lovely sentiment for you to make, Mr. Lindbergh. Let's move on. The British and the Jewish races, for reasons which are not American, wish to involve us in the war. Oh, okay. Where are you going with this? Their greatest danger to this country lies in their large ownership and influence in our motion pictures, our press, our radio, and our government. So you don't like Jewish people because they're really good entertainers? From these quotes, people immediately began to claim that Lindbergh was an anti-Semite. Now, while he would go on to dismiss these claims and say, "No, I don't hate Jewish people," he didn't really back away from those claims either. It's kind of like when you apologize for saying something really stupid and really but then you immediately follow up that apology with, but you know I'm still right though, right? They just recommended that you stop at the apology. It'll make Thanksgiving dinner go much smoother. But ultimately, Lindbergh's speech really didn't matter because a few months after he made that speech, the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, and we all know what happened after that. The AFC's leaders supported the war effort and disbanded the committee in December of 1941. But it also didn't help that, in addition to the anti-Semite claims that the committee was reeling from, that artists like Theodore Geisel started drawing up these political cartoons labeling America First to be on the side of the Nazis. By the way, you guys are all really familiar with Theodore Geisel's work because later on he would go on to create some amazing books and amazing artwork that was labeled stuff like One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish, Oh, the Places You'll Go, Green Eggs and Ham, and The Cat in the Hat. Yes, kids, before his books taught you how to rhyme and introduced you to characters like the Grinch, the Oncelers, and Horton Who Heard a Who, Dr. Seuss was political as f***. As for Trump's version of America First, he seems to be promoting more of a nationalistic and in some cases an isolationist platform. And that kind of thinking could have worked in the 18th century, and it might have maybe worked in the early 20th century. But today, in an era where the entire globe is connected via the internet, we are more connected than ever, isolationism is a step backwards. I have an idea. Instead of America First, why not America First? As in, let's be the country that's first when it comes to education. Let's be the country that's first when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to drug and prison reform, when it comes to gender equality, when it comes to climate change. The United States of America is the strongest nation on the planet and has the ability to create huge change just by example. But when the country's example is to take its ball and go home, the rest of the world isn't going to really want to look up to that. And that, my fellow Earthlings, is it for this episode of US 101. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Really do appreciate it. And thanks to all of you that have subscribed to the channel, for liking the videos, for sharing them, for just commenting on the videos and letting your voices be heard. That's the best part. The comment section, I love engaging with you guys, man. As always, guys, you can follow US 101 on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, all those links down below in the description box. And I must give an absolutely special 100% thank you so much. Shout out to Coach Gandy's A-Push class, AP US History class in Arlington, Texas at Mansfield Summit High School. You guys definitely raised the bar when it came to viewer intros, man. I can't thank you guys enough for submitting that. And to the kid that threw the dab at the very end of it, you are a goddamn superhero, sir. You have much to be proud of. If you'd like to submit your own viewer intros, maybe you have a history class and you'd like to film all your students doing the intro for US 101, you can send those intros to the following email address, ushistory1882@gmail.com. You guys can send those viewer intros and then maybe you'll see yourself kicking off a future episode of US 101. On that note, guys, I will see you next week for a brand new episode. I am all done, and oh, this is Bella, everybody. You're my baby. Say bye, Bella. Meow. Bye. That was so cheesy. I'm so sorry.